Yo. Good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, the tri state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, rhymes with now or later, your host with the most misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable, independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, Queens, New York native who is a New York Giants and New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. You are now rocking with me by listening, tuning in, streaming, and watching the 442nd episode of Off the Meat Rat Chainz New York Avenue podcast. And man, oh man, I got a lineup full of topics for you today. Now, listen, I don't know if you heard, but we might be getting another snowstorm possibly tomorrow through Monday. Mostly tomorrow night though, from what I've been hearing actually. So I hope you folks at home in the tri-state areas in the five boroughs and Long Island have enough salt for the sidewalks, the driveways, everything in between, and be prepared. And if you have to be outside to go to work and stuff like that, please be careful out there and be safe out there. All right. Um Also, I did hear about the New Jersey transit situation that is taking a detour. I will talk about that in the next episode. I'm not going to have time to cover it here. So, for the New Jerseyans, if you have to do a detour to get to Manhattan and all that other stuff, especially with Amtrak, I think Amtrak might be affected too with the detour. Um, because you know how certain bridges and everything else is like, getting old, right? Certain parts of the bridge starts deteriorating and all that other stuff. So um that's part of the reason why I'm going to save that topic for the following episode. But in the meantime, if you missed any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to download the episodes. Click on that subscribe button on the YouTube channel page, G Money Stats 555, for all the episodes that's been uploaded to the YouTube channel page. Leave a like and a comment and tell me how you feel about the topics in each episode. And also, you can leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts alongside with a positive review. It really helps me out as a content creator, a host of multiple podcast shows that I do, and everything else in between. So there you go, right there. I hope y'all had a great week as far as work and all that other stuff. Um, so yeah, man. So yeah, without further ado, um, also I want to actually say something. I know for some of you out there, some of the listeners, some of the people at home who probably can relate to this, and what it's like to have an overprotected parent who is a hater based on men having braids and dreads and stuff. So in today's episode titled Hairs, I want to actually defend the guys and and the the types of hairstyle, braids, or whatever hairstyle you have whatsoever. I'm here to defend you because let me tell you something, man. The way my mother said that to me, to say that and I confronted her about this too. So all that in due time in chatting on the jazz. But for now, we're gonna get into the New York mass transit files right here. We got some transit talks to talk about as far as some transit news that's going on in the tri-state areas of the 5 boroughs. Let's go. Okay, let's start off with this. All right. And I said I was going to actually give you an update on what's going on with the Gateway Tunnel funding. So here's what's happening here. According to the folks from AM New York, um, Governor Kathy Hochul accused Cheeseface President 47 on Tuesday of throwing a temper tantrum over his administration's continued freeze on Gateway Tunnel construction funding, which led to the halting of all work on the vital rail project. The Democratic governor, during an unrelated February 10th press conference, laid blame for Gateway's nearly 5-day work stoppage squarely at the Republican president's feet. The project ground to a stop on the project ground to a stop on February 6th because the Department of Transportation has refused to release $205 million of funding for it since October, and a line of credit keeping construction ran out. Oh boy. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give you another update on the Gateway Tunnel funding in the following episodes, so stay tuned for that as well. This is crazy. This is fucking insane. You gotta feel for the workers who's trying to do this to get that out the way. Yeah, let me lower this. But wait, there's more. She said, in quote, it has come to a dead stop because Cheeseface President 47 is throwing a temper tantrum, Hochul said, of the $16 billion undertaking to replace a decaying rail tunnel that connects the Empire and Garden states beneath the Hudson River. AM New York reached out to the White House for comment and is awaiting a response. Jeez. The governor further suggested that Cheeseface President 47 continued funding freeze may be tied to his desire to slap his own name onto Penn Station in Washington, D.C.'s Dulles International Airport, referencing reports by multiple outlets to that effect. Oh, Lord. The reports indicated that Cheeseface President 47 would agree to release the funds if U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer and the Democratic Senate Minority Leader agreed to rename the buildings after the president. Schumer was said to have refused. And in quote, we're not quite sure what he's mad about right now, she said of Cheeseface President 47. It may have something to do with the naming of certain buildings, but here's what I say. Let's worry about what to call it when it gets done. Let's keep working on it. Keep building. Put people back to work. Hochul says she and Cheeseface President 47 have discussed Gateway several times in the months and weeks leading up to the work stoppage, but that her pleas to unfreeze the federal dollars fell on deaf ears. She contended that Cheeseface President 47 is more concerned with exacting political retribution on congressional Democrats such as Schumer than restarting Gateway. He's hell bent on wreaking havoc here in the state of New York, she said. He doesn't care about the consequences. Yeah, you idiots, you idiots gave this motherfucker um um criminal immunity. This guy is a fucking criminal and a fucking crook. Can't wait for his stupid ass to get off the White House. Hochul further charged that Cheeseface President 47 is responsible for 1,000 construction workers being out of a job since construction ceased on February 6th. Furthermore, she said the work stoppage puts the commutes of the roughly 200,000 people who take Amtrak and New Jersey Transit through the tunnels each weekday at risk. The 116-year-old two tube tunnel is in dire shape after decades of use and severe flooding from 2012 Superstorm Sandy have warned that if the tunnel is not replaced soon, it is at risk of shutting down and snarling transportation up and down the East Coast, as the tunnel is a vital piece of Amtrak's Northeast Corridor. The governor said that the, the cheese-faced President 47 administration's freeze on funds appropriated by Congress under former President Joe Biden is illegal. Cheese-faced President 47's DOT withheld the money at the beginning of the last government shutdown under the pretense that it needed to assess whether Gateway's contracting with women and minority-owned vendors was in compliance with new federal rules. Gateway officials have said they provided the cheese-faced President 47 administration with the materials it requested. Hochul referenced the joint lawsuit between New York Attorney General Letitia James and New Jersey Attorney General Jennifer Davenport, seeking to force the feds to release the funds so that construction on Gateway can resume. Jeanette Vargas, the Manhattan federal judge presiding over the case, initially granted a temporary restraining order last Friday, forcing the cheese-faced President 47 administration to unfreeze the funds over this week and the next. But the feds appealed on Monday, compelling Vargas to pause her February 6th decision pending a higher court's decision on the appeal. Meanwhile, the Gateway Development Commission, which is leading construction on the tunnel, filed its own lawsuit against the cheese-faced President 47 administration in the federal court of claims last week. That suit appears to be moving much slower with Judge Richard Hertling on Monday scheduling oral arguments in the case for March 12th. Damn. So you gotta wait till March 12th for this shit. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a fucking bitch though, man? All right, so now I don't know if you heard about this, but recently, according to the ticker, on January 22nd, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority installed the third model of its fare gates at the 23rd Street Baruch College station. Baruch College train station. The gates, built by Korean tech company S Traffic, are the last model of the organization's citywide fare gate pilot program. The gates feature tall glass doors in place of the turnstiles previously installed. The two earlier models were built by companies Conduent and Cubic Transportation Systems, both of which have installed similar gates in other major cities. Additionally, Cubic is the company behind the One Metro New York fare system, which has officially replaced the MetroCard as of January 1st of this year, 2026. The gates are designed to combat fare evasion, a persistent issue that the MTA has struggled to crack down on. According to a study from the Citizens Budget Commission, a nonpartisan fiscal think tank, the MTA lost an estimated $350 million to unpaid subway fares in 2024. The new fare gates provide the MTA with an opportunity to reduce its losses from subway fare evasions, which have been on a constant rise since the start of the slamdemic. The fare gate program began in December 2023 when the MTA first tested its wide aisle gates at the JFK Airport Station in Jamaica, Queens. Since then, the MTA has piloted other designs at 20 stations across the city. In the next few years, the fare gates will be installed at 150 stations, the goal being to serve 75% of riders by the end of 2029. Shit, that's 2 years. That's 3 years from now. Meanwhile, the MTA is continuing to modify existing turnstiles. Spike partitions and plastic paddles have been installed on current turnstiles. Exit gates have also been modified with delayed egress locks, and police presence has increased at various locations. As a result of these changes, the MTA has begun to see its first downward trend in fare evasion in a long while. However, some riders still report issues with gates across all three models. Some commuters have gotten their heads stuck between the gates' doors, while other front various methods to bypass them on social media. New York One Spectrum New York One News also reports that the new model stays open too long, allowing fare evaders to pass through. Now, a lady got hurt by those a lady got hurt recently by those gates. I forget which train station she was at, but I'll circle back on that in one of the following episodes. All right. So, despite these issues, the MTA has not paused the rollout of the new fare gates. It plans to continue installing the model at the remaining stations of the pilot program. Upcoming stations to be outfitted with new fare gates include Crown Heights, Utica Avenue on the 3 and 4 lines, Delancey Street on the FMJ and the Z lines, and and Roosevelt Avenue, Jackson Heights on the EFMR and 7 lines. As the MTA continues to test the gates and expand the pilot program, officials will evaluate how each model performs before selecting a design to install at the remaining 150 stations. End quote. As we evaluate their performance, we're learning more every day about how to design modern, effective fare gates for New York City, MTA spokesperson Eugene Resnick said in a statement. Well, you got to get those shits fixed, man, because people keep getting hurt, man. The lady weeks ago got hurt. Her, the gate really hurt her face, man. Y'all need to fix that shit, man, for real. Before you keep, worrying about fare evasion. People be getting hurt off of them shits, man. Like, cut it out, man. Um, let's see. What else? What else? Um, what else to talk about here, man? What else? What else can we talk about here? This is crazy, man. Damn, man. All right, so according to the Gothamist, Kenneth Luna's family said he died doing something he enjoyed, walking through the park near his Bronx home to clear his mind. It took place on January the 28th. The 29-year-old left the apartment he shared with his mother on Brook Avenue in Mont Haven and walked three blocks to St. Mary's Park, according to his younger sister, Maria Luna. Temperatures in New York City felt like 10 degrees that night, and Maria Luna said she suspected that her brother had been drinking. Had it not been dangerously cold outside, she said, Kenneth Luna might have made it home, but he had lain somewhere in the park and did not get up. First responders found him the next morning after a passerby not called 911. Maria Luna said, and he was pronounced dead at the local hospital. He wasn't homeless, she told Gothamist on Wednesday. Maybe there was no one around to help him. Um, that's crazy, man. And that's crazy. City Hall officials released Luna's name on Tuesday as part of a list of 18 deaths. Actually, 19 fatalities happened. Actually, 19 fatalities happened in public places during the recent period of frigid weather that first gripped the city on January 19th. He is one of the youngest people on the list so far, which includes unreported names of several others who were also discovered dead across the city. Luna is also one of about two people who likely died of hypothermia either outdoors at transit locations or in private homes during the cold stretch, according to City Hall. The overall death toll, which has ballooned over the past 2 weeks as authorities confirm more cases, now also includes actually it's more than seven fatalities. Well, previously it was seven fatalities in residential settings. Um, the Mandani administration is still investigating some of the deaths and their official causes, including Luna's. But the city's chief medical examiner testified at a city council hearing Tuesday that 15 to 18, now 19 fatalities in public spaces are believed to be directly related to hypothermia. And the head of the social service department says some of the people had previous interactions with the city's shelter system. Hypothermia is no joke, man. Make sure you keep yourselves warm, layer up with clothes, gloves, mittens, scarves, ski masks, hoodies, you just name it, man. Anyway, as those reviews continue, Gothamist has found at least five of those who died outside had housing, according that no, excuse me, underscoring that even people in stable living situations can be vulnerable to extreme weather, which is becoming more common due to climate change. Philip P. Uma, age 47, who officials said was found outside a key food in Flushing on January 27, was not homeless either, according to the Reverend Larry Byrne, rector at All Saint um, Episcopal Church in Bayside, Queens, New York. He said Pete Uma was a longtime member of the church who lived in the area and worked as an alarm dispatch officer. Philip was a gentle soul. He was a great guy. He always wanted to help people. He had a great sense of humor, Burns said. Phil was a bit like Will Rogers in that he never met a person he didn't like. The grocery store's manager spotted Piuma sitting on the bench outside the store the night before he was found dead. The New York Daily News reported. It was pretty shocking the way he died, Burns said. Piuma's stepfather, John Sandrowski, said Pete Umer never returned after stepping outside of his Bayside home in the afternoon to fetch medication for his uncles with whom he lived. Sandrowski said his stepson appeared to have slipped, fallen, and broken his nose while he was out. The stepfather added that video footage police showed passerby offering Piuma tissues, but no one called for help. He would have been saved if somebody would have made a phone call. I'm just in disbelief, says Sandrowski, who has known Piuma since he was 2 years old. Piuma died 5 blocks from his home and across the street from a fire station, Sandrowski noted. He was a good kid. He took care of people. He did like cars. His friends had a couple shows, a couple show cars, he said. Maria Luna said she only discovered her brother was missing when she went to visit their mother that Friday. She said she checked with the Bronx restaurant where he worked as a server and they also had not seen him. When medical examiners called later that afternoon to tell her Kenneth Luna had died, Maria said they explained he had arrived at the hospital as an unidentified patient because he lacked a cell phone and identification. I was shocked, she said. He always came home, no matter what. In the days since her brother's death, Maria Luna said her family has been grappling with what could have saved him. She said she wished more police had been assigned to patrol St. Mary's Park, which is right across the street from the NYPD's 40th precinct and can be desolate at night. I know my brother was not the only victim. There were other people found in parks, she said, referring to Noberto Jimbo Niola, age 52, who had been discovered dead several days earlier on the bench in Corona, Queens. This winter hit us hard and no one was really expecting it. Um, Luisa Fernanda Reyes Soria said she was still looking for answers about why her brother, 27-year-old Daniel Alfonso Reyes Soria, was found naked at a construction site along Jerome Avenue in Norwood without any of his belongings on January 26th. City medical examiners said he died of hypothermia with acute methamphetamine intoxication as a contributing factor. He was everything to me. It was us two against the world, Luisa Fernandez, age 29, said Wednesday in Spanish. Her family has set up a GoFundMe campaign to re- repatriate Daniel's body to Bogota, Colombia. She said her children would call him Tio Tricolor or Tricolor Uncle because he loved colors and loved taking photographs. He was a happy kid. He never had any enemies. He was cheerful. He loved doing his TikToks, Luisa Fernandez said. Daniel was LGBTQ plus and worked for a cleaning company that provided services to large companies like Louis Vuitton. His sister told Gothamist. She said he arrived in New York City 4 years ago and had a pending asylum case. Reyes Soria lived alone in a studio in Belmont, according to neighbors who spoke with Gothamist inside his six-story walk-up building on Wednesday. Albina C. Congenin, a tenant on the third floor, said she often saw him in the hallway on his way out. He used to go up and down the stairs wearing a book bag. She said he was polite. C. Conjenin says she was stunned to learn Reyes Soria was found dead outdoors. It's not like he was homeless. He had a home, she said. So what happened to him? Yeah, that's crazy, man. 19 fatalities. That's fucking insane, man. That's fucking insane, man. If you really think about it, that's really insane. Let me see some. Let me see if there's any other trends in news that I want to actually get to. Actually, so let's see. Hold on. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um. This is fucking insane, man. All right. I want to. Hmm. Um. Let me see. Okay, this is crazy. This is the craziest story. All right, here it is. So we got an incident that happened in Brooklyn recently on Valentine's Day. So Police in Brooklyn have apprehended a suspect who attacked two women at a subway station Saturday morning, punching one victim while shoving another onto the tracks. Law enforcement sources said the rampage occurred just before 8:45 a.m. on February 14th, Valentine's Day, at the 53rd Street station on the R line in Sunset Park. Sources familiar with the case said the suspect, a 25-year-old man, approached one of the victims, a 51-year-old woman, and punched her in the face. Damn, you got sucker punched. That's messed up. That's fucked up, man. The perpetrator then turned his attention to the second victim, a 43-year-old woman, and shoved her onto the tracks. Following the attacks, he fled out of the station to the street above. The 43-year-old woman was able to get off the tracks before a train could arrive, according to reports on the Citizens app. Thank goodness this person is safe and able to get off the tracks. Officers from the 72nd Precinct and NYPD Transit District 34 responded to the scene. The first victim suffered facial injuries, while the 43-year-old woman sustained pain in her knee and back. During a search, police apprehended the suspect at a shelter on the um, on the 5100 block of 20th Avenue in Brooklyn. He was taken into custody for questioning with charges against him pending the results of the ongoing investigation. How about that, man? I'm glad this person got caught though. Anyway, man. I know I want to actually so so as I said earlier, man, the title of this episode is titled Hairs. Basically I'm going to be talking about the different types of braid styles men rock. All right? And the purpose of this is for me to defend the guys who have braids instead of writing them off because of the types of hairstyles they got. I'm not going to do that here. So I'm not going to do that here. So what I'm going to do is basically, defend them. I want to defend these guys because, for not just for them, but for me. So, and this will be our next segment right here. Right here is going to be chatting or the jazz. All right. So this is where I talk about things that's like basically trending and not trending, and of course along with the serious stuff and some funny topics and stuff. So this is what we're gonna get into right here, right now. And I also going to talk about the history behind those hairstyles. All right. So here it is, chatting or the jazz. Let's go. All right, here we go. Here we go. Now I want to start off with this little story that I just mentioned right here. So one day I actually confronted my mother and asking her why does she hate men with braids, and then she comes up with an excuse to say, "Oh, she doesn't have time to be braiding hair or whatever." Mind you, I seen her with braids before. What the hell? Listen, let me tell you something, folks. If you have an overprotective parent that coddles you and annoys you about the types of hairstyles you're rocking, whatsoever, because not every man wants to get a military fucking haircut. All right, not everybody wants that shit. And I bring this up because I wanted to actually do my part to defend the guys who have braids and dreadlocks, because there's a history behind it, and there's different types of hairstyles that I want to actually get into. But before I do that, I want to air my grievances and, hear me out. Please hear me out when I say this. My mother is a toxic authoritarian bully, alongside with being a fucking hater and a hypocrite. And I say that because of the fact that there are things that she pulled. There's some stunts that she pulled. Like, for instance, she went through my Facebook profile picture on social media to see me with with me taking a I took a selfie of myself wearing an outfit from We All In, um, which is a black owned business by a friend of mine. Shouts to Chris, aka bum ass Chris. Um, and I was wearing that outfit, and I was wearing, I like wearing necklaces, chain necklaces that goes with every outfit. And I did rock a hat, and I did rock some shades and stuff. So the thing is, the thing that really bothered me the most is that, you're spying on your son's social media page, and your idea of good intentions um has went out the fucking window by being so disrespectful to me. And the only person you're talking about, me being immature. Well, let me tell you something. You're the one that's being immature and quick to write people off because you don't like certain things. You're quick to write people off because the fact that not everybody agrees with you. Well, guess what? Guess what? Everybody likes different things. Everybody likes different shit. Okay? And that's okay. You can't control people. You can't control people like that. And I'm pretty sure many of you out there can relate to what it's like to have an overprotective parent that does the unthinkable. You may be asking, why are you talking about your mother like that? Well, because I have a fucking right to actually be angry and express how I feel about certain things. And I keep telling her I can't be the old version that you perceive me to be. I can't do that. And the reason why I can't do that is because of the fact that I outgrew some of those things. I've outgrew some of the teachings that she taught me, because sometimes you have to unlearn certain shit in order for me to be my own person and to be the best adult version of myself. I cannot just go ahead and believe everything that she says. There's certain things I can agree with, but at the same time, I can't agree with her on the idea of calling guys with fancy hairstyles. I can't agree with her on the idea of calling guys with braids and other hairstyles and dreads and stuff like that bums. I can't agree with that shit, because that is like the most ignorant shit, that I ever heard in my life. All right? And I feel like she's being unreasonable and a fucking hypocrite. And on top of that, you wanna try to shit on the people from TMZ. By the way, they're not just people who work in an office, okay? They're not always in a cubicle. They have a TV show. They do research. They get their information first from their sources. There's certain things that they can't talk about during an investigation. And I also want to point out, the way TMZ Extra and alongside with CBS 2, NBC, Fox 5, ABC, and Pix 11, you may think that it's a joke, but the way they get their topics, it takes it takes a long time for a story to develop. The development of each topic story takes time to develop and grow because, you know, in terms of the information, yeah, you're gonna have videos that's like what 39 seconds and stuff because they just got it. You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm trying to make here is, man, for for all you out there for all you that are basically in the same situation as me, whether it's sons, daughters, because I know I'm not the only one that's feeling that way. I'm pretty sure many of you out there feel that way as far as like, the hasty judgments being said about the outfits and the clothes that you wear, the accessories or chains, whatever it may be. And another thing I want to point out too is she doesn't know the definition of a fucking rapper. A rapper is a person who is a performer who performs music on stage and concerts. That's what a rapper is. A rapper is not a person being a bum. That's not what this is. And I just want to clear this stigma and misconception here. All right. I also wanted to actually make sure that I am the person to defend you guys who have braids and dreads because I met a lot of guys over the years who have dreads and braids, okay? Just because a person has braids and dreads does not mean that they're bad fucking people. They're not bad people. They're human beings just like everybody else. Can we stop the stigma of calling people bums because they have different types of hairstyles? Whatever it may be. You could be a performing singer, you could be a performing rapper, a hip hop artist, whatever you may be, whatsoever. It's like it's like it's like the song Will Smith made with DJ Jazzy Jeff, and he was called the Fresh Prince back in the day. He made this song that was very relatable called Parents Just Don't Understand. And he's right. And I feel like sometimes we get caught up with trying to really trying to be people pleasers. I'm a people pleaser myself, actually, because I like to prove people wrong as far as the haters, the fucking haters. Listen, and I bring this up because of the fact that I was cyberbullied twice I was cyberbullied twice on social media, okay? And I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm not gonna let I'm not gonna let those bad experiences stop me from doing what I love to do. Because at the end of the day, these are lousy motherfuckers who have nothing else to do but go around and judge me. Like I remember years ago when someone basically was judging my username on Instagram, who has the Decisions podcast with Mandy B. I'm not going to mention her name because she shall remain fucking nameless. All right. Um. Yes. All that to say is that, as adults, we make our own decisions. And when you make your own decisions, you you don't have to owe an explanation for everything. You don't have to tell your parents everything. There's certain things you can talk about versus the ones that you cannot talk about. I'm pretty sure you at home probably have some parents that's not relatable because they don't know what it's like to be vulnerable to things. Just like my mother, who is the authoritarian bully. Um, so yes, I'm gonna make the best decisions that I can do. I'm not a perfect man. I made tons of mistakes. That doesn't mean I'm better than everybody else. And I would appreciate if some of you parents, some of you parents out there to stop with the hasty hating judgments to your sons and daughters. Doesn't matter what their sexual orientation is. Doesn't matter what type of clothes that they wear, whatever it may be. If when they become adults, you can't control them. They're not stool fucking pigeons. They're not AI fucking robots whatsoever, which I'll talk about in a future episode. That's a red flag. All right. They're human beings just like you. And I just want to actually, you know, just just get things off of my chest. So if you're listening to this, I appreciate you for letting me get things off of my chest about my mother and the types of hasty judgments that she says about guys with braids and dreads and stuff like that. Cause I'm here because I want to be here for more support to defend you folks, to defend you guys out there who got dreads and braids, because it pains me to hear that it pains me to hear that my mother want to write guys off because they got braids and dreads, so they don't want to be to say that they're not allowed to be invited over to the crib because they got braids and dreads. It's uncalled for. It's fucking asinine to me. And that indicates to me that she's the immature one. She's the fucking idiot who is toxic and fucking insecure and jealous to actually think that you're entitled to everything. You know what I'm saying? And and honestly, she's not only a cheapskate, she's also selfish. And I'm sorry if I have to talk about my mother on the air on my podcast, but I needed to get this off my chest. It's not fair to me if I didn't talk about this, know what it's like to be vulnerable to certain hasty, hateful judgments being said about me and everything else. The only way I'm going to prove to people wrong is for me to clear the stigma of a lot of things being said about me and everything else. Because at the end of the day, if you can't accept me for the person that I am today as an adult, then don't bother talking to me. Enough is enough. I'm done. All right, I want to go into the history behind dreadlocks and braids. I wanted to learn about this because I wanted to learn about this because of the fact that, I've met a couple of guys who uh who basically who basically have braids and dreadlocks and all the other stuff. So I want to get into the history behind it actually. So let's get into the history of dreadlocks for a second. Let's see. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Um, let's see. All right. Here's the history behind dreadlocks. So listen to this. Have you ever wondered who invented dreadlocks and braids? First of all, let's speak of dreadlocks. It is not clear where the word dreadlocks comes from, but here are some of the hypotheses. Some believe it may have originated within the Rastafari movement, which has elements of Christianity. In Christianity, the dread of God is often used to describe a deep respect and faith in the divine. Therefore, dreadlocks can be the hair of a person who deeply believes in God. The locks of hair are mentioned in the Bible, and rosters keep their hair uncombed, so they end up developing what we know today as dreadlocks. And in case you don't know where I'm getting this information from, this is from dreadlab.co.uk. Some believe it came from the first impact between African warriors and the European colonizers. The warriors supposedly infused a sense of dread to the invaders, thanks to the intimidating look that included dreadlocks. Either way, the word seems to be strongly connected to the African heritage, and many think the hairstyle itself originated there. But is it accurate to say so? The first evidence goes like this. As we saw in the dreadlocks creation guide, anybody can grow dreadlocks just by stopping combing. This applies to any ethnicity and any hair type. Of course, some will pick up, of course, some will lock up quicker and or better than others. But if we don't comb our hair, we'll get tangles, and if we don't undo them, sooner or later they'll form dreadlocks. This means that this hairstyle is as ancient as humanity itself, and no culture can claim its full intellectual property. The first people to wear dreads were probably cavemen. We researched the first evidence of the use of dreadlocks. The first piece written evidence dates back to 1500 BC. It is brought to us by the ancient holy Hindu text called the Vedas. In these texts, Lord Shiva, one of the main um, deities of Hinduism, wears his hair in the so-called jada, which is locks of matted hair, basically the same as dreadlocks. Even in today's India, it is not uncommon to see jada hair. For example, the holy men called sadhus, where their jada in big coils on the top of their heads. Sadhus believed that wearing out wearing our hair in this fashion will facilitate the cosmic energy flow and help elevate our consciousness. The first figurative evidence comes from Greece and dates back to a similar period as the Veda text. A fresco from the island of Santorini shows fighters wearing dreadlocks. Um, More evidence from the same period comes from Egypt and other parts of the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Although sometimes it is difficult to tell dreadlocks from braids in as bas relief or a painting. Dreadlocks and spirituality. It seems that dreadlocks have often had in history a spiritual or philosophical meaning. Dreadlocks have been present in many religions as part of one's spiritual journey. We already mentioned the presence of Jada in Hinduism, but the same hairstyle is also present in Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam in very similar ways. Buddhist, Christian, and Muslim ascetics, similar to the Hindu sadhus, embrace dreadlocks as a way to express their renunciation of vanity and material desires. For many of them, the choice was between getting dreadlocks and shaving their heads. Religions have the tendency to spread, and by doing so, they tend to embrace elements of the cultures they cross, their own representative elements spread with them. So it's very likely that holy men influence each other on the use of dreadlocks across different regions, excuse me, different religions. However, um, dreadlocks have been present in all of the continents as a strong cultural and social symbol since ancient times. So it almost looks like ancient populations agreed on the importance of dreadlocks even without much contact. In pre Columbian America, Oceania, and Africa, dreadlocks were used as a social and cultural symbol, often associated with shamanism. This hairstyle represented a connection with the divine and with the spirit realm, and was often a symbol of strength and integrity for warriors and chiefs. Dreadlocks, reggae music, and the Rastafari movement. You must be talking about yeah, hold on. When speaking of the history of dreadlocks, we need to mention the Rastafari movement. In fact, the reason why dreadlocks are so widespread nowadays is in great part the result of the increase in popularity of reggae music, which became a global phenomena towards the end of the last century and has helped to spread the Rastafari message. This included the recommendation to leave our hair in their natural state, let it grow and tangle to form natural dreadlocks. Um, the Rastafari movement is a physical and mental liberation movement born in the context of centuries of colonialism and slavery. It started in the 1930s, excuse me, in areas that were heavily invaded and colonized by white Europeans, particularly Jamaica and the surrounding Caribbean islands. The history of these places is rough. Not many know that nowadays, and the population of Jamaica is 100% non-native. First by the Spanish invaders who occupied the island in 1494, and then by the British colonists who kicked out the Spanish a few decades later. The population of Jamaica, as we know it today, is composed of the descendants of slaves brought from British colonies, primarily Africa, um, but also India and other countries. The genetics there are also mixed with white Europeans. Slave trading became illegal at the beginning of the 19th century, and slavery in Jamaica became officially illegal in 1834. But in actuality, people were still being enslaved for over a century through psychological manipulation. The desire for freedom of these people condensed into the Rastafari movement, which was Christian based but had Hindu influences. For example, the use of ganja, the plant sacred to Lord Shiva, um, the Vedic dreadlocks deity, It seems clear that the spiritual practice of wearing dreadlocks in the Rastafari movement comes both from the African and the Hindu backgrounds. In this scenario, reggae music was a way to cheer people up, give them hope and strength, and in many cases, to inform and educate them so that they'd be able to stand up for their rights. This music and its message continued to spread, and in the 70s, it became popular all over the world as it still is today. People in Europe started supporting the Rastafari movement and were captured by the strong message of hope and liberation. Many started wearing dreadlocks using Rastafari symbols and smoking ganja. In the same period, more and more Westerners started wearing Jada hair after visiting India or after meeting Hindus and Jada hair and that had traveled to other countries. Dreadlocks became the most common way to call this hairstyle, which has since been adopted by all kinds of different people, including hippies, metalheads, and more. Okay, dreadlocks and braids in our society. So listen to this. In the past, one of the ways people were stripped of their identity, humiliated, and made into slaves was by denying their right to wear their hair as they wanted. That's why years ago in one of the episodes I actually talked about the Crown Act episodes ago. If you can listen to that in episode, I believe I did that in episode 275. You can check that episode out um as well. Let's see. This was particularly effective when one's hairstyle had a strong cultural meaning related to personal identity, which is the case for dreadlocks and for braids in African descendants. Excuse me. Box braids and cornrows, in particular, are typical of African culture, even if they may have been used in other regions too. It's in Africa that historically they had the most popularity. Quote, in many African tribes, braided hairstyles were a unique way to identify each tribe. Braid patterns and hairstyles were an indication of a person's tribe, age, marital status, wealth, power, and religion. Braiding was and is a social art. There you go. Um, for centuries, wearing dreadlocks or braids has been one of the boldest rebellious acts for slaves, and the punishment for wearing their hair in such manners was often brutal. Even today, in our civilized society, when a person of color wears their hair in such manners, they often get discriminated against at work, in school, or in sports. Some examples include it's not uncommon to see white bosses fire African descendants just because they wear dreadlocks or braids. Children and teens are told they will be expelled from school if they don't cut their dreadlocks. Athletes are only allowed to perform if they conform and renounce their dreadlocks. Today, all kinds of people with different backgrounds, beliefs, and tastes are wearing dreadlocks or braids, which can lead to controversy. For many, the meaning of dreadlocks and braids is not that of physical or psychological liberation or of cultural identity or part of a spiritual journey. It's just a hairstyle, and that for some is offensive. No, it's not. Um, Cultural appropriation. Let's see. When we look at history, it's clear that no culture can claim ownership of dreadlocks, but the accusation of cultural appropriation does have valid reasons to exist. To understand this, we need to pay more attention to the pain and suffering millions of us are still going through today. For example, if we're white Caucasians, aka white chocolate, white chocolate, vanilla white chocolate raised in Europe, in the US, or in another white predominant country, it's not so easy to notice the systemic racism we're living in because we are the ethnic majority. Systemic racism is a reminiscence reminiscence of a history where people of ethnic minorities have been systematically stripped of their human rights. Violence towards people has been commonly accepted in our society until only very recently, and the fight to get rid of racism is far from being over. When a person of color wears dreadlocks or braids, they often get abused at work, in schools, in sports, etc. If a white person wears dreadlocks or braids, they rarely get abused. Therefore, it's clear that these hairstyles are often used as a way to express racist ideology. The accusation of cultural appropriation, in a way, can be seen as a call to action because there is still a lot of racism, and we all need to stand against it as we excuse me as we're all equal. In conclusion, some useful advice. It is very important to be aware of the topic of cultural appropriation when we decide to wear dreadlocks or braids, as we are all part of society and we all contribute to it through our mentality and our actions. Facts. Facts. I agree with this. The first thing is, of course, to acknowledge that the accusation of cultural appropriation is a result of ongoing social injustice. Nobody can claim exclusive cultural property over these hairstyles. But the issue is that are often an excuse to discriminate against people. We should defend our fellow humans when they experience discrimination. After all, we would all like to see others defending us when we're victims of injustice. And consider this: when people of any ethnicity wear dreadlocks or braids at work, in school, or in sport, it is an opportunity to underline that we are, in fact, all equal, and there is no space to be made for racism. It's important to know the history a little bit in order to respond to accusations in a calm manner, manner. Dreadlocks and many braided hairstyles were made popular by African descendants, especially in the US and the UK. But the history of humanity is a history of cultural exchange. For, for example, the act of smoking ganja in the Rastafari movement comes from the Indian slaves that were brought to the Caribbean. Ganja is a Sanskrit word. The plant is native to India and Nepal. It is also sacred to Shiva, but that doesn't mean that only Indians or only the followers of Shiva can smoke it. Finally, it's good to keep yourself informed about these important topics, but try to not overthink it. A Caucasian looking person with dreads, braids can have African descent and still be accused of cultural appropriation, while a person of color can wear braids or dreads as just a hairstyle, meaning they don't express anything in particular, but they just look beautiful. At the end of the day, anybody with dreadlocks or braids is just a person who is using their hair as a means for self expression. They are beautiful hairstyles, and it's nice to share our passions. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly, man. Now look, now look though, man. I don't think anybody has intellectual property of the types of hairstyles, man. It's been made popular over the years. So let's not let's not let's not get caught up in some shit though. Let's not do that. Let me see. 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 What else? Yes, I want to talk about the different types of braids, different types of braid styles actually. So this is from Birdie. Let's talk about this actually. So after more men decide to wear their natural hair protective styles, think locks, braids, cornrows, and twists are becoming more mainstream. These men's braid styles not only look great, but help protect fragile, kinky, and curly hair from the elements and the stress of daily styling. As men continue to embrace the experiment with their natural texture, we thought it best to tap the expertise of professional hairstylists and locticians for their top hair tips and styles for men who want to give braids and locks a try. Keep scrolling for more. Transitioning to natural hair, Burton's first rule, in quote, take it slowly and don't expect a miracle overnight. Those of us who have journeyed down the road of natural hair knows this to be true. However, finding patience can be a challenge. Um, it's definitely going to be a process and you'll learn as you go. No natural hair journey is the same, he says. For guys just starting out, you may be wondering where you fall on the curly spectrum. But Burton says knowing your hair texture isn't the most important factor in caring for your hair. However, there is one detail you do want to know. As you experiment, pay close attention to your hair, reacts to products, but don't overthink your hair type, says Burton. What matters and will affect your understanding of your hair much more is your hair porosity. Do your research and reading on that more than anything. We know you may not have come here for a hair care lesson, but we like to lay a solid foundation before we get to the good stuff. Protective styling. Protective styling tips includes um the best practices for keeping braids and locks neat and healthy. Locticians Jamelia Locks and Tiffany Lawrence prefer to adhere to natural um solutions when it comes to maintaining braids and locks. Their advice emphasizes the importance of proper care and the use of natural products. Maintaining braids and locks is all about giving them the love and care they need. Keep your hair moisturized with the right pH water and some good natural oils like jojoba, coconut, or tea tree. It's like a drink of water on a hot day for your scalp and hair, they explain. Choosing the best protective styles. Okay, so when you are picking out a protective style, it's all about understanding your hair and what your day looks like. You need to consider your hair's texture, length, and what kind of care you can manage. For example, if you are always on the move, you might want something that doesn't need a lot of fuss, like braids or cornrows. But think hard about the upkeep before settling on something like locks or cornrows, Jamelia Locks advises. Be realistic about maintenance levels. Braids, plaits, locks, and twists are among the most popular styles for Black men. With the right stylist, any of these looks are achievable, but caring for your hair properly is a must if you want to grow healthy hair. no matter which style you choose. Dedicating time to wash, condition, and even trim your growing hair should be a priority. Jamelia Locks and Lawrence agreed that timely washes are a must, adding, washing is essential. Get yourself a gentle residue-free shampoo to avoid any buildup. For those trying out protective styling and looking for a low maintenance style, Burton recommends cornrows. I would say that cornrows are probably easiest to keep up at home. All you really have to do is protect them at night and keep them moisturized. Highlighting the difference between the long term and short term commitments of these natural hairstyles, Jamelia Locks adds, locks are a long haul commitment and need regular touch ups to keep them looking sharp. Cornrows might need to be refreshed more often depending on how quickly your hair grows and how fast they loosen. Locks are another style Burton finds easy to not just maintain at home, but an option, he says, can potentially be started without any professional assistance. To create the locked style that I currently have, all I did was rub a small towel across my head in circular motions every day for a few months. And that formed my locks, he tells us. This method is particularly beneficial for those who are going for a fluffy look. I don't like my locks to look fresh and shiny. They are less obedient that way. I like them to be fluffy. So, out of all three, I'd say that locks are easiest to create at home, as that's what our hair does naturally. But braids are easiest to maintain as they require little to no styling or manipulation every day. Burton says leave-in conditioner like the Shea Moisture 100% virgin coconut oil daily hydration leave-in treatment, which is $12. You can buy it at your local beauty parlor. Is an ideal s- starter product if you are just getting into caring for your hair beyond a low fade. Start with a leave-in conditioner. I I spritz it on my hair every evening, and even more liberally on wash day every wash day. Excuse me, on wash day after rinsing out the conditioner. Wrap your style at night. Aside from applying a leave-in to keep the hair moisturized, a do-rag or a satin silk pillowcase is essential for nighttime care. It's so important to stop that moisture loss, says Burton, excuse me. You'll notice such a difference. The cotton of a normal pillowcase will strap so much needed moisture from your hair. Try Taylor Boutique's black silk do rag for $15. Nighttime routines don't have to have a lot of steps. We promise. Spritz it in a leave-in conditioner and put your do rag on. You'll wake up with moisturized hair that will stay healthy and supple throughout the day, says Burton. Jamelio Locks and Lawrence also emphasized the importance of being gentle with your hair. Remember, when you are braiding, be gentle with those edges to avoid breakage. At night, wrap up your hair in a silk or satin scarf to keep it smooth and reduce any friction while you sleep. They share. Oh my gosh. So develop a hair care routine. The Violet May salon owners expressed that maintenance is not one size fits all, but rather a process. You have to customize your own needs when it comes to washing. every 2 to 3 weeks is generally fine for both cornrows and locks, but adjust according to what your scalp and lifestyle demand. If you are sweating at the gym or if your scalp tends to get oily, you might need to wash a bit more frequently, they suggest. As for rebraiding and retwisting, Jamelia Locke says you'll want to redo your cornrows every 4 to 6 weeks to keep them neat and to avoid putting too much stress on your roots. Locks can usually go a bit longer, about 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how quickly your hair grows and how tidy you like your look. Keeping up with this care will ensure your style stays beautiful and your hair stays healthy. Burton emphasizes one final note on the hair care front: get rid of the product that says it does it all. He explains, put down the 3-in-1s. While they are not the evil they are sometimes made out to be, I just feel like it's a jack of all trades, master of none situation. Use a separate shampoo and conditioner. They'll each be formulated specifically to efficiently do what they are supposed to do without being overly stripping or moisturizing. Finding the right cleansers and conditioners can take some time, but don't get discouraged. Remember, give yourself some hair care grace, because the natural hair journey is a marathon, not a sprint. That's right. That's right. Once you get to the finish line, we promise it will be worth the wait. Protective hairstyles for men. Okay, you got the 90s inspired locks. Anyone else getting Busta Rhymes 90s vibes? Offsets long locks are styled into two textured pigtails, which add a super fashionable twist to his entire look. That's number one. Number two, single braids. The key to moisturized braids is a healthy base, meaning hydration via deep conditioning and a proper leave-in. If you find frizz cropping up, embrace it. It's just a part of being natural. Number three, high top locks. John Baptiste high top locks offer an easy and neat style that works both on and off the red carpet. High top locks, characterized by their height and neatly faded sides, provide a modern alternative to traditional locks. Number four, locked man bun. Man buns are always a good idea. Don't be afraid to add a few embellishments or hair color to your locks. Number five, patterned cornrows. A list of the best braid styles for men could never be complete without mentioning Allen Iverson. While this may be a bit of a throwback, his influence on braid culture is undeniable. As an NBA player from the late 90s through the 2000s, Iverson brought braided styles to the mainstream, making them acceptable to wear at work, school, or play. Over the years, he has worn a variety of braided and cornrow patterns, including swirls and zigzags, all of which have become ubiquitous today thanks to his influence. Number six, tapered man bun. Ooh, if you don't want to commit to a full head of locks, opt to shave off the sides in a fade and then rock your hair in a man bun. For guys working to grow out their hair while maintaining hydrated coils or twists, the lock method will be your best friend. Number seven, faded cornrows. Cornrows with a fade are a hybrid of two tried and true looks. If you give this look a try, be sure to keep those cornrows moisturized with a spritz of leave-in conditioner. Number 8, braids with a crisp fade. A clean lineup with two braids is always a good look, as Jason Derulo shows us. Number 9, single braids with added length. Travis Scott's hair is his trademark. Here, here there is a little length added, giving his go-to braids a new edge. Number 10, intricate cornrows. A sharp set of cornrows is the perfect protective style for a formal event, as seen here with this look on John Boyega. Number 11, two-strand twist. NBA star Jalen Brunson has made two-strand box twist his signature style in recent years. Two-strand twist, created by twisting two sections of hair together, can be worn short or long, making them ideal for various hair types and lengths. Excuse me. Number 12, four cornrows. We love to see a hair journey, and Big Sean's doesn't disappoint. Four cornrows are a simple classic that can be done on a variety of hair lengths. Number 3, excuse me, number 13, medium length locks. The shoulder length lock style is incredibly handsome. And at this length, you can also rock a man bun, ponytail, or even a half up, half down style. Number 14, tapered locks. With tapered sides and a short full lock crown. This look is one that could be recreated with ease and the right stylist, of course. Number 15, mini braids. Call them mini braids or plaits. No matter what you call them, they offer up a low manipulation, attractive, protective style. Number 16, Bantu knots. Anime never misses an opportunity to experiment with his style or hair. His embellished Bantu knots are a must try. Number 17, face framing box braids. Going back to the 90s is always welcome for those with shorter coils. This style offers an opportunity to try something new at any length. Number 18, cornrows. Cornrows are incredibly versatile, so don't be afraid to ask your braider to try new patterns or length. Number 19, fishtail cornrows. This is a new one right here by Drake. Drake's double fishtail cornrows are a new take on a classic style. To make sure that your braids stay shiny and fresh for longer, make sure you wear a do-rag at night to preserve your style for longer. Number 20, blonde twist. Ty Dolla Sign's signature locks are upgraded with a chic twisted style and a touch of honey blonde color. Adding color is one of the quickest ways to enhance a protected style. Number 21, medium length braids with accessories. We've all been there. Your braids might start losing their luster the longer you keep them. To spice things up, try adding an accessory like Big Sean's bandana. A bonus points for color coordinating with your outfit. Number 22, locked ponytail. Jaden Smith's easy locked up do is one of the choicest and easiest styles to achieve. And the best part, the messier, the better. Number 23, braided locks. Waka Flocker's locks are given a new lease on life by styling them, excuse me, styling them into large braided plaits. Number 24, half up, half down locks. Burna Boy has traditionally been versatile with his locks, often rocking full man buns, long twisted locks, and more. This half up, half down look is another great switch up, giving the Afrobeats artist a neat top bun while showing off the length with a few loose locks in the back. Number 25, Viking braids. That's unheard of, actually. Wow. Viking braids with shaved sides offer a bold and edgy look. Here, the braids are pulled into a high ponytail and left to hang neatly off the face, making them versatile enough for both work and play. Now, yeah. So, yeah, so these are the type of braids and dreads. No, these are the type of braid styles actually and dreadlock styles and stuff. So listen, listen. So the more the story is, in my experience, I've met guys with braids and dreadlocks, man. And you know what it is, the type of hairstyles and everything else that they have. I'll say this though, man. Um, to majority of the men out there who's rocking braids, the different types of twists, cornrows, and the different types of braid styles, dreads, or whatever. I am here to say, I am here to say that that each hairstyle is basically an awesome way into representing who you are as unique individuals. Each of you who's rocking different types of braid hairstyles and everything, it makes you unique. And I say this in a compliment, and I mean this in a complimentary way and a compliment based on how you guys take care of your hairs and stuff. Now, as I said earlier, just because men have braids and dreads and different braid hairstyles or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're bad people. They're not bad people. So, listen, man. Listen, man. This is G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, defending the men out there who are rocking the different types of braid styles, the different types of dreads, and everything else in between, whatever hairstyles you rock, continue to rock it, man. Don't worry about the fucking haters. Don't worry about the haters, including your parents hating on your hairstyles, you know, giving you the stigma that you look like bums. You are not bums. You're human beings just like everybody else. All right. Um, I just wanted to say that before I go on to the next topic in terms of Natural Hair Day. Because because it's my duty to actually defend people, especially when it comes to the different types of hairstyles. And as I mentioned, I did an episode in regards to the Crown Act that was passed out in 2019. I actually talked about this in episode 275. So y'all more than welcome to actually check that out. I was able to sign that shit because I feel like in each workplace it's discriminatory and kind of racist to actually you know discriminate over a person's hairstyle. Not every man wants to rock a military haircut. of a dark Caesar or a fade haircut. Okay? It doesn't work for every guy. So boom. Let's keep it together. Continue to rock your hairstyle as you like. Continue to take care of it. And boom. And that's my thoughts right here. So there you go. Be the best version you can be. No matter what hairstyle you are rocking, you are not bad individuals. Be the best version of yourselves as adults the best way you can. And I know many of you probably would agree with this, that our parents can be a little hateful, jealous, toxic, all that great stuff right there, man. Make decisions for yourselves in a good way. Be good to yourselves. Be the best version of yourselves. Keep rocking those hairstyles, no matter what anybody says. I just say the different types of hairstyles are very unique. It represents um a person of who they are as far as the identity. It could be Jamaicans. It could be any particular ethnic background. All right. And I would say you don't need to be Jamaican or a Rastafarian to rock dreadlocks. All right. There's no specific rule of of how you rock dreadlocks. All right. So there you go, man. Let me move on to the next topic in terms of Natural Hair Day. All right. All right. Let me see. All right, Natural Hair Day. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this actually. So, um all right. Finally, there's a day to express your love for your hair. Natural Hair Day, which is on October 1st. New Me, a hair products company, created this day for people to celebrate hair styling tools and other hair products. Since ancient times, women have been obsessed with their hair. Cleopatra washed hers with what? Wait. Wait a minute. Wait just a damn minute. Hold on a second here. Wait a minute here. Wait just a minute here. Wait just a damn minute. Am I reading this right? Am I reading this shit right? Am I reading this shit right? Hold on. Donkey milk? Donkey milk? You can't be fucking serious. Donkey milk. I'm sorry, but this donkey milk. Yo, what the hell type of shit? First of all, first of all, first of all, I never heard of anybody using donkey milk for their Oh man, donkey milk. That shit is funny, man. Oh my gosh. Oh man, donkey's milk. That's funny. Oh shit. All right, all right. Today, for many women, hair is high maintenance because how you wear your hair makes makes a statement about you. So color your hair purple with polka dots, braid it, throw a weave in it, or just wear your hair short and flirty. Today is a day to celebrate your personality as personified by your hair and to explore ways to keep it lustrous and healthy. On Natural Hair Day, work that hair, girlfriend. Oh shit. Oh man. I needed that laugh though, man. I needed that. I really needed that shit though, man, to be honest with you. I needed that. The hell? All right, so let's go over to the timeline of National Hair Day. The hell is going on here? Okay. All right, the timeline of the 10th century BC hair gels are ancient. Hmm. Um, in ancient Egypt, people used hair gel made from a fatty substance to style their hair. Oof. 1500. Um, Royal hair means red hair, locks and pin curls. Um, when when Queen Elizabeth flaunts this hairstyle, it quickly becomes a fashion trend. Women even pluck their hairlines and eyebrows like Her Majesty. 1920, the bob is all the rage, with women winning the right to vote. Time for a excuse me, more liberating hairstyle, the short bob. Oh nah. 1930, let's get a perm. Many women, including celebs like Rita Hayworth, visit salons to get perm treatments. 2000s, the wave sweeps the world. Sun-kissed beachy waves are the popular look, and women have several hair tools and products to create them at home or at a salon. Ooh, okay. All right. Natural hair day activities. You can try a different hairstyle. A new hairstyle can make you feel powerful, in control, or like a different person. Today is the day you decide who you want to be. Share your healthy hair secrets. Did a product, pill, or diet work for you? Share your knowledge with others on social media. People benefit by exchanging information. Give your hair some TLC. Book an appointment at a salon or spa and treat your hair. Healthy hair is beautiful hair. Yep, I know that's right. 5 hair raising facts. All right, number 1, snake haired monster. Oh no. Oh no. No, no. Oh shit. Oh man. In in Greek mythology, the monster Medusa has been described as a wing snake skin human female with poisonous snakes in her and in place of hair. Oh boy. Number two, the U.S. has the most incredible. The U.S. has the most redheads. Surprising as it may sound, America has the largest population of redheads. Between 2 to 6% of the country's population consists of redheads. Number three, a teenage Rapunzel. Kito, a Japanese teen, holds the record for having the longest hair, 155.5 centimeters on a teenager. She has never cut her hair in her life. An example I would have to give was one of the episodes of the Jennifer Hudson show. There was a woman who actually was on there, and she basically won the Guinness World Records for having the longest, what is it, the longest afro or the longest hair, I think. I forget her name, but I am going to I'm actually following her on my podcast page anyway. So yeah, congratulations to her. All right. So there you go, right there. I didn't even know I didn't even know you can win a Guinness of World Record for having the longest afro. I did not know that. That's interesting, by the way, folks. All right, number four. Marital status defines hairstyles. Unmarried Fulani women of West Africa dress their hair with small amber beads and coins, while married women wear large amber ornaments. Number five, hair today, gone tomorrow. You know the saying by now. People always freak out when they see a few strands on their brush. Fact is, a person can shed between 40 and 150 strands of hair a day. Why we love National Hair Day, you ask? Because you can let your hair down. It's easy to get stuck in a hair rut. So today, break the monot the monotony. Hold on, the monotony, the monotony, and do something fun with your hair. Most women are obsessed with their hair, and many men too. So it's great that we have a day to celebrate our hair. It's an excuse to pamper your hair. Another reason to take a trip to the salon sounds good. While you are there, get a mani pedi too. Okay, what does that have to do with your hair? Anyway, anyway, this year, um, Thursday, October the 1st. Um, Next year, 2027, Friday, October the 1st. Sunday, hold on, 2028, Sunday, October the 1st. 2029, Monday, October the 1st. 2030, Tuesday, October the 1st. So there you go, folks. There you go, folks. There you go. So there you go about the hair and everything else and stuff. So I like to actually what is this? What is this? Wait, what is this? What is this? I want to hold on a minute here. Did I hold on a second? Before I go on to the next topic, um we got some unfortunate news in the entertainment world of acting. Um Unfortunately, James Van Der Beek has died. TMZ has learned. Some of you may know him from Dawson's Creek and Varsity Blues, the R-rated movie that came out years ago. A rep for the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office in Texas says it was reported to them at 6:44 a.m. No cause of death was given. So that's crazy. James's wife, Kimberly Van Der Beek posted about his passing shortly after we broke the news. Writing in a shared Instagram post, her husband met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. She asked for privacy for their family at this time. The actor revealed he was battling stage 3 colorectal cancer in late 2024, telling people he felt optimistic despite the difficult diagnosis. Van Der Beek tried to do some good to help others who were facing similar battles just weeks after revealing his diagnosis, starring in a 2-hour special of The Real Full Monty in December 2024 to raise awareness for prostate, testicular, and colorectal cancer testing and research. Van Der Beek got emotional while discussing his cancer battle on Good Morning America in 2024, especially when he mentioned everything his wife had done for him since he'd been diagnosed. Um, so yeah. And yes, as I was saying in the beginning of this topic, he hold on a second here. Some of you may know him from Dawson's Creek. And what happened was he was supposed to join his fellow Dawson's Creek castmates. What the hell's going on with this thing? Oh boy. Hold on. Hold on. Yes, he was supposed to join his fellow Dawson Creek's castmates in September, but he was forced to drop out of the reunion for health reasons. He ended up making a surprise virtual appearance, introducing Lin-Manuel Miranda, who read lines in his place. Van Der Beek didn't soak in his last few moments of life either. He even said cancer was the best thing that ever happened to him in December 2025 because it encouraged him to live a healthy, more religious life. James rose to prominence in the late 1990s as the titular character in Dawson's Creek, though he later gained recognition for his roles in Scary Movie, Varsity Blues, and Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23. He also regularly grabbed recurring roles on many of the most popular shows of the last 2 decades, like How I Met Your Mother, One Tree Hill, and Posse. No, excuse me, Pose. Um, we last caught up with Van Der Beek outside the famous Egyptian Theater in Park City, Utah at Sundance 2020, where we talked snowboarding and charity work with the veteran actor. James is survived by Kimberly and their 6 children, daughters Olivia, Annabelle, Amelia, and Gwendolyn, and sons Joshua and Jeremiah. He was 48 He was 48 years old. SIP to James Van Der Beek, the beloved actor from Dawson's Creek, Varsity Blues, and other movie roles that he did as bodies of work. All right. So there you go, right there. There you go. Let's see. Let's get into this actually. New York State's was ranked second worst in the U.S. for its costly, stringent rules on child care centers. A new analysis claimed the right-leaning think tank, the the Archbridge Institute said the Empire State should be looking to cut down bureaucratic red tape and end regulatory burdens to drive costs down instead of plans favored by Democrats Governor Kathy Hochul and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani to funnel taxpayer money to expand coverage for youngsters. Rather than pursuing costly taxpayer-funded subsidies um, and state-sponsored programs, we recommend reducing regulatory burdens on childcare providers that ultimately harm parents by increasing barriers to entry and raising the cost of childcare, the group said in its childcare freedom analysis, which ranked Vermont at number 50. On the issue of childcare, a more affordable America means a less regulated America from one state to the next. The study rates state policies and regulations for center-based childcare facilities, including child-to-staff ratio requirements by age, maximum group sizes by age, required annual training hours for staff, and minimal educational requirements for center directors and lead teachers. States with higher education requirements to obtain a license to become child care directors and teachers received a lower grade. New York's 1.87 scored ranked significantly lower than the other most populous states. Florida ranked 5th, Texas ninth, and California number 13. The Empire State ranked poorly for having low child to staff ratios, 8 to 1 for 4 year olds and 9 to 1 for 5 year olds. California, by comparison, had no maximum group size except for toddlers under 27 months. Florida offers a higher child to staff ratio for 3 year olds, 15 and 1, 4 year olds, 20 and 1, and 5 year olds, 25 and 1. Edward Timmons, the the Archridge Institute's vice president of policy, said New York should find other solutions to bringing down costs instead of using taxpayer dollars to provide free care. Instead of fiscally reckless proposals to provide free childcare, Governor Hochul should work with legislators to loosen overly restrictive regulations in New York to increase choice and improve competition, Timmons said Sunday. Increasing the number of children permitted to be supervised by staff and increasing maximum group size will give parents more choice in the market, he went on. Research shows that these regulations do not improve quality of care or child safety, but we do know that they are associated with higher costs. One state lawmaker said rules are put in place for a reason, especially when dealing with the youngest children. It's a smart thing to look at regulations. Um, but we want our children to be safe and we want to educate them, said Bronx Assemblyman Michael Benedetto, chairs the Education Committee. It's a fine line, he added. According to Archbridge's 2026 index, the five least regulated states for child care are Idaho, which ranked first, followed by South Carolina, Arizona, Alabama, and Florida. Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Massachusetts, followed by Vermont and New York, rounded out the bottom five of the list. Childcare costs many of the city's families more than $20,000 per year, among the most expensive in the nation. $20,000. Damn, that's a lot of money. Wow. That's a lot of money, though, man. Wow. Uh, okay. Let's see. Oh boy. Um, Hold on a second. Let me see what the hell's going on here. Okay. Yeah, where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Okay. All right. So in New York, Hochul rolled out a $4.5 billion multi-year plan to phase in universal health care, universal child care, excuse me. Um, Her proposed two-care program for all 2-year-olds in the Big Apple, along with a buildup of existing pre-K and early childcare in the rest of New York, will ultimately provide care for 100,000 more children across the state. It has the backing of Mondani, who had, excuse me, who made a campaign pledge to eventually provide free childcare for all kids in the city starting at 6 weeks, and proposing tax hikes on the rich and corporations to pay for it. Um, the report noted that federal law has triggered more state regulations of childcare. The 2014 reauthorization of the Child Care and Development Block Grant required all states receiving federal funding to set group size and child to staff ratio restrictions, in addition to other new licensure requirements. In response to the criticism, Hochul's office defended the governor's plan to provide free or subsidized childcare, though she's also reviewing the effectiveness of existing regulations. Governor Hochul's plan for universal childcare would save New York families billions of dollars each year and make New York a more affordable place to raise a family. The governor has already committed to looking at state regulations, ensuring the state's childcare infrastructure and workforce is high quality and effective, and most importantly, safe for all children in care, a spokesperson said. Her office insisted New York's existing staffing ratios align with recognized best practices set by national experts. Okay, there you go. There you go. Hang on one second here. Let's see if I. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go, right there. Um, it's crazy, man, how this idiot in the White House wants to cut childcare. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It really is fucking ridiculous. And so and this fucking idiot took away funding to anti-terrorism, which I actually mentioned this episodes ago, actually. And I think it's so fucking ridiculous. So, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, let's go to our next topic here. I want to actually let me see. Is there? Oh boy. Um, wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Do I have this topic? Do I have this topic? Yes. Let's go to IKEA. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the store IKEA, right? Here's what's happening here. The Swedish furniture giant Ikea has become the latest business to warn that it could be forced to raise prices for US consumers to mitigate the impact of cheese-faced President 47's tariff program, which is illegal. It's fucking illegal to put tariffs on businesses. The household furnishings brand was founded by Ingvar Kamprad in 1943 and has centered its offering around a democratic design ethos ever since, emphasizing attractive, functional, and affordable goods. But its values are being tested by cheese-face cheese-face President 47's aggressive levies, given that it relies heavily on imports into North America, with just 15% of its U.S. products sourced regionally. Fortunately, its kitchen cabinet range falls into that category, shielding it from the president's recent 25% hike targeting that sector. However, this is likely to prove only a minor consolidation. Affordability remains a top priority for IKEA, especially during economic uncertainty. Toga Onku, retail manager at Inca Group, the company that operates most IKEA stores around the world, told The Independent. The US is one of our most important markets with over 50 stores, thousands of employees, and we have continued to invest in local sourcing and manufacturing and job creation, according to the folks on AOL.com. We source globally and locally, producing key products in the US, while we've made some necessary price adjustments due to rising costs. We are committed to keeping prices low and providing quality goods to our customers. Onku previously told the Wall Street Journal, our ambition is to continue lowering prices. We have to adapt and pass on parts of the cost increase to the customers. These tariffs are confirming we are on the right track when it comes to exploring possibilities to produce more in the US. He added diplomatically, we can't stay immune to absorb all the costs ourselves, but the big work sits in finding ways to lower the prices. He said that the company has been working hard to cut operational costs, but ultimately it can only go so far in that direction. IKEA's total retail sales have meanwhile fallen for the second year in a row, down 1% or $52 billion for the year ended in August, according to the Wall Street Journal, which could force its hand. The company's full results of the fiscal year are due out next month. The newspapers, uh, the newspaper notes that the company's up plan sofa has already risen in price from $849 to $899 this summer, and that its three-piece oak bedroom set has increased from $959 to $1,049 compared to August. Responding, White House spokesperson Kush Desai told the Independent the United States was one of the largest furniture makers in the world as recently as the late 2000s, a position that has since been undermined by unfair foreign trade practices. The Cheese Face President 47 administration is committed to implementing a nuanced, multifaceted approach of tariffs, deregulation, tax cuts, and energy abundance to restore American manufacturing dominance. Oh shit. That's a fucking lie, man. You want to add more taxes, man. The Independent has also reached out to the Treasury Department for comment on the solution. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't know. Compounding the problem for IKEA, The average amount of money spent by American families, furniture fell dramatically in 2023, the most recent year for which data is available, from recent highs of 715.60 715 and 60 $715.60 in 2021 and $746.46 in 2022 to just $618.65, according to Statistica. That is almost certainly attributable to post-pandemic inflation, with families cutting down on inessential purchases as the cost of everyday essentials remains high. This is the very issue many people voted for cheese-face President 47 to address. Well, guess what, man? You played yourselves, man. He didn't keep his promise. The downward trend looks likely to continue too, given that furniture prices were up 4.7% year on year in the US in August. If Ikea is ultimately forced to raise prices in response to the tariffs, it would by no means be alone. The likes of Walmart, Target, and Home Depot have already warned that they may have to act in response to the headwinds they face. Cheeseface President 47 has reacted angrily to such statements, telling Walmart, the country's largest retailer, it must eat tariffs in a May True Social post, ordering it to stop blaming his trade war for its own decision to raise prices. Adding menacingly, I'll be watching, and so will your customers. Staff at Walmart and Target responded by posting on Reddit about price increases they had encountered in store that they believe are directly attributable to the president's tariffs. As the Christmas season approaches, which already passed already, those same businesses have expressed concern that the ongoing economic uncertainty could adversely impact holiday hiring practices in the future, meaning fewer people will be taken on in a temporary capacity. The investment bank Goldman Sachs has forecast that U.S. consumers will ultimately end up paying 55% of tariff costs, with the rest falling on American companies and, to a much lesser extent, foreign exporters. That's another reason why people are getting laid off, man. It's not just inflation itself. It's the stupid rising cost, and it's the stupid rising cost of the stupid tariffs. Nobody fucking asked for these fucking tariffs, which is fucking illegal, man. I just wish there was somebody that could take over the damn White House to fucking get rid of these stupid ass tariffs, because it's ruining businesses. Like I said before, this guy is a fucking crook. He's a fucking crook and a menace to society. He should be a fucking shame to himself. Yeah. All right, so there you go, right there. Let me see, what else can we talk about here? Let's see. Let's see. Wait a minute, man. Where's the 50 Cent story? Because I know he's still trolling. He's still trolling that shit, though, man. Still trolling, right? Yeah, he's still trolling. Yeah, let's go over the Grammy highlights, though, man. The most recent Grammy highlights. Yeah. All right, let's go over the Grammy highlights. All right. Most recently, let's go over the Grammy highlights. Sabrina Carpenter rocked a flight attendant suit and hot pants. Justin Bieber kicked it off in just boxers and socks. Lady Gaga performed with a lampshade on her head, and Chaperone showed up in barely anything, according to the folks from USA Today. Mainly, though, the artists at the 68th Grammy Awards, which took place February 1st, wore their hearts on their sleeves. Winners used their moment at the mic to speak out, including Bad Bunny, who denounced ICE. Billie Eilish called for people to continue to protest, and had choice words for ICE. And Gaga urged female artists to always speak their mind. Along the way, a wide variety of musicians performed and were honored for their work at the Grammys, from Olivia Dean being named new artist to Kendrick Lamar, breaking records. Plus, Cher showed up. Here are the moments that touched hearts and minds. Some sparked laughter or caused a stir at Magic's biggest night. All right, so Bad Bunny makes political statement in Grammy speech. Ice out. Bad Bunny's Debbie T-Raw Mas Photos made history as the first Spanish language album of the year winner, and it received the honor for Best Musica Urbana album. But the musician's most important message came through his powerful acceptance speeches. He said, in quote, "I'm going to say ice out," the Puerto Rican megastar said, starting off his speech accepting the Musica Urbana honor and getting a standing ovation from the crowd. We're not savages. We're not animals. We're not aliens. We are humans, and we are Americans. And he also added, "I know it's tough not to hate these days. The hate gets more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. So please, we need to be different. If we fight, we have to do it with love. We don't hate them. We love our people. We love our family, and that's how you do it." Good call. Later, Trevor Noah sidled no side led up next to Bunny in the audience and gave him grief for not performing at the show because of contractual obligations for his Super Bowl halftime show performance next week. Which he did a good job, actually. The comedian managed to get Bunny to sing a little bit when mariachi band came out, and he showed love for his acceptance speech. That was very beautiful. At the end of the night, Bunny spoke almost entirely in Spanish, accepting his album of the year Grammy, and in English dedicated the award to all the people who had to leave their homeland, their country, to follow their dreams. A year after sweeping 5 awards, Kendrick Lamar returned to the Grammys with a field leading 9 nominations and took home even more gold. Lamar won 3 honors at the pre-televised event and the main ceremony. Added Record of the Year for Luther with SZA and Best Rap Album for GNX. His night was one for the record books. He surpassed Jay-Z as the most winning rapper in the Grammys history. End quote. He said, "I'm not good at talking about myself, but I express it through the music." Lamar said in his rap album acceptance speech, "Hip hop is always going to be right here. We gonna be in these suits. We're gonna be looking good. We're gonna have our culture with us." Cher had one of the best moments of the night when she accidentally said Luther Vandross won for Luther, but corrected herself. Lamar probably would have been okay with him getting the trophy. Colin Vandross, one of my favorite artists of all time, when they got the clearance to use a sample of Vandross's vocals on Luther, we all dropped a tear. The rapper said, "The only caveat, no cursing. That was okay with Lamar. He said, "We're gonna make sure this represents love." An emotional Jelly Roll wins a Grammy, preaches to the choir. Jelly Roll took the Grammy crowd to church with a small Bible in his right hand and a Grammy for Best Contemporary Country Album in his left. He thanked his wife Bunny XO from Dumb Blonde Podcast, saying, "I'd have killed myself if it wasn't for you and Jesus." Then the singer went on a roll about his holy inspiration. "There was a time in my life, y'all, that I was broken. That's why I wrote this album." He said of beautifully broken. "I didn't think I had a choice, y'all. There were days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size in a 6 by 8 foot cell. And I believe that those things could change my life. I believe that music had the power to change my life, and God had the power to change my life." And I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord. Trevor Noah appreciated the sentiment. Thank you for that. The host said, "My mom's going to love the show now." All right, so Trevor Noah hosted the Grammys for the sixth and final time, and he roasted Nicki Minaj and Cheeseface President 47 in his monologue. Nicki Minaj is not here. She is still at the White House with Cheeseface President 47 discussing very important issues, Noah said before launching into a a Cheeseface President 47 impression. "Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest ass. Everybody's saying it, Nicki." Noah later took another jab at the president, saying Cheeseface, Pro- Cheeseface President 47 wanted Greenland so badly because Epstein's island is gone. He needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. Oh, shit. Bill Clinton. Oh, man. That's fucking insane, man. Yeah, I'm not going to read all that. I ain't gonna read all of that though, man. Though Noah didn't shy away from politics, he wouldn't touch Kendrick Lamar. "I thought about writing a few jokes roasting him, roasting you, the South African born Noah said, sitting by the Grammy winning rapper. But then I remember what you can do to light skinned dudes from other countries," a reference to Lamar's legacy beef with Drake. Yeah. Chaperone shocks the Grammys red carpet with ultra revealing dress. Someone always comes to the Grammys red carpet with a shocking look, and this year it was Chaperone. The Midwest princess turned heads with a see-through burgundy dress showing off an intricate tattoo like seen and held up by her pierced nipples. By the time she appeared on Network's pre-show special, she was covered up and acknowledging that the hardest part of Grammy night is the red carpet. It's overstimulating and people are just filming you and you don't know what they are doing with it. It's crazy. Others who went above and beyond on the red carpet included French producer um um what is it? G. Stein, who showed up in a tux plus his signature black mask. Um, he also won for his remix of Lady Gaga's Abracadabra and Swedish pop star Zara Larsson in a bold, shiny gold bra and skirt two piece. Heidi Klum did her take on the naked dress, and of course, the mother monster herself didn't disappoint. Lady Gaga showed up and showed out in black feathers. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Oh boy, where is this? Yes. Yeah, I want to talk about 50 Cent trolling. Yeah. Okay, so 50 Cent roasted T.I. comedy. Okay. Yeah, he stayed trolling though, man. That's the crazy part though. He stayed trolling. Anyway, um, we would talk about that actually. So here it is. Oh shit. Oh man. This is funny. This is funny though, man. Um hmm, hold on. Hmm. Yeah, sorry about that. Um all right. All right. So recently, most recently, T.I. is the latest rapper to be targeted by 50 Cent and his social media shenanigans. The Atlanta rap legend has made an unlikely pivot into the world of stand up comedy in recent years, but it appears the G Unit General is not impressed by his comedic talents. In a sense, deleted Instagram post, 50 shared a clip of T.I. seemingly bombing on stage during his recent cheaper than therapy comedy special while delivering a joke about a friend and collaborator Young Thug. That man was fighting a Rico. I'm sorry, white people. Young Thug is a rapper. He's from Cleveland Avenue. His name don't sound like much, but he's held in high regard within the community. He's a national treasure. Yes, responsible for many Negro spirituals. Tip explained to the audience. Fifth captioned the not so flattering clip, which some have suggested was edited to drown out the crowd's laughter by writing, "Damn it, man. It looked easy, but it's not easy at all." Laugh out loud. 50 Cent didn't stop there. He later posted a second clip of T.I. getting booed at the 2022 comedy club, excuse me, comedy show at Brooklyn's Barclay Center and joked, "Oh, I didn't know it was going like this, bro. Why he think he can do that shit?" Wow. That's messed up, man. That's fucking messed up right there, man. It's unclear what prompted 50's playful ribbing of T.I., but this is not the first time that there's been friction between the two. Back in 2020, the rap veterans traded jabs after Tip challenged Fifth to a versus battle, a matchup that many fans were keen to see. Pull your ass up, man, with 20 of your records and sit across from me and get this work. Ti said, but I understand if you don't want to answer to that challenge because last time you got challenged, Kanye West dusted your ass off. So you might not want to do that. In typically troll worthy fashion, 50 responded by posting Tip's controversial Crime Stoppers commercial from the late 2000s from with a snippet of G Unit's song "You So Tough." "Why you make me do this, nigga?" He taunted. This is the first song I'm a play you so tough. TOS. He's so stupid, man. He is so fucking stupid though, man. Unfortunately, Yeah, he's an idiot, man. Anyway, the Grammy Award highlights. Let's see. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna go into. Okay, we're gonna go into our next our next segment. The movie Man Cave Popcorn. Yes, we're gonna be getting into some movies that's going to be happening in 2026. So let's go over where we talk about a few things actually. So all right, so the preview, let's get into it right here, man. Let's go. According to the folks from Mashable, let's get into it right here. All right, so it's dizzying to look back on 2025 as it was a phenomenal year in cinema, offering a panoply. Hold on, panoply of supreme horror, superb streaming offerings, and star stuff stunners. And yet, 2026 is already looking to rival all that awesome with a sensational slate all its own. Mashable has scored the upcoming release calendar for looking for the movies that are sure to intrigue in 2026. You got superhero movies are coming back in a big way with new films featuring characters from Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Fantastic Four, and much more. Video games will offer fresh inspiration as Silent Hill, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat all launch new movie um adaptations. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck routine on screen while Kiki Palmer, Pedro Pascal, and Tom Cruise are going on wild new journeys. Horror fans have a lot of reasons to rejoice as sequels from frightening franchises like 28 Days Later and Scream will hit alongside original offerings from Damian McCarthy, um, Curry Barker, and Maggie Gyllenhaal. By the way, Scream comes out in on Friday, February 27th, I believe. Yeah, Friday, February 27th. I saw the trailer already. It looks pretty decent. Whether you are craving comedy, science fiction, action drama, or the kind of movie that refuses to fall safely in any of these categories, 2026 has some cinema to be excited. You got all right. So Greenland 2 Migration already came out already. Um, already came out already, and of course, it's starring Gerard Butler, Morena Baccarin, Roman Griffin, Davis, Amber Rose Riva. I don't know why what is she doing in the movie? She can't even act. Gordon Alexander, Peter Polly, Carpu, William Abadi, and Tommy Earl Jenkins. And then Dead Man's Wire. Dead Man's Wire, Bill Skarsgård, Decray Montgomery, Corey Elwaves, Mahala Coleman Domingo, and Al Pacino. 28 years later, The Bone Temple, um, starring Alfie Williams, Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Alfie Williams. Yeah, so Aaron Kellyman and Chi Lewis Perry. The Rip, um, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Stephen Yeun, Tiana Taylor, Sasha Calais, um, Catalina Sandino Moreno, Scott Atkins, Kyle Chandler, Nestor Cor- Corbinell, and Lena Esco. A Useful Ghost. Oh, wow. Davika Horn, Witsarut Hemarat, Apa Siri, Nitibhan, Wen Lop, Run Kum Jad, and Wissarut Ham Huan. Jeez. Cosmic Princess, um, Comic, Comic, Cosmic Princess, um, Kaguya. Oh boy. All these anime movies. They got all these names that's very hard for me to pronounce. So forgive me if I mispronounce your name. I apologize. Yuko Natsuyoshi, Anna Nagase, and Saori Hayami. Clicker. Not even JD Concrete. Do know Laura Lopez, Nana Porcelain. No, excuse me, Poncelion, Poncelion, and Master P, Peter Green, and Eric. I'm not even gonna really go into all this shit though, man. You know. Let me see. Um, Peter Green and Eric Roberts. Okay. Um, RC already came out. Chris Pratt, Rebecca Ferguson, and Annabelle Wallace. Return to Silent Hill. I don't think it came out yet. Um, it did. It probably came out already. Anyway, Hannah Emily Anderson, Jeremy Irvine, Robert Strange, Evie Templeton, um, Pierce Egan, Eve Macklin, and Emily Carding. Um, the moment, the moment, is by Charlie XCX, Rosanna Arquette, Kate Berlant, Jamie Demetrio, Haley Benton Gates, Isaac Powell, and Alexander Skarsgård. Send Help that just recently came out is by Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. I'm not gonna read the synopsis though. I'm not gonna have time to do that. Pillion is by Harry Melling and Alexander Skarsgård, which is already out already. Cold Storage, Joe Keery, Georgina Campbell, and Liam Neeson. Crime 101 is out right now, and it's with Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan, Monica Barbaro, Corey Hawkins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Nick Nolte. And GOAT recently came out. It's starring Stephen Curry, the NBA basketball player and actor, Caleb McLaughlin, Gabrielle Union, Nick Kroll, Nicola Coughlin, David Harbour, Jennifer Lewis, Aaron Pierre, Jelly Roll, Jennifer Hudson. And by the way, congratulations to Jennifer Hudson for reaching a season 5 renewal on her talk show. And of course, Patton Oswalt. So there you go, right there. And good luck, have fun, don't die. Sam Rockwell, Haley Lou Richardson, and Michael Pena. Weathering Wuthering Heights is out right now. The rated R movie is #1 in the box office, which stars Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, Hong Chow, Shazad Latif, Allison Oliver, Martin Clunes, and Ewan Mitchell. Um, let me see. How to make a how to make a killing. Um, Stars Glenn Powell, Margaret Qualley, Ed Harris, Topher Grace, Jessica Henwick, Zach Woods, and Bill Camp. And Scream 7, which is coming out on February 27. Mark your calendars. You can check it out. It stars Nerve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Isabel May, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Anna Camp, Joel McHale, who you may know from what is it? Animal Control on Fox 5. McKenna Grace, Michelle Randolph, Jimmy Tatro, Asa German, Celeste O'Connor, Sam Reckner, Ethan Embry, Timothy Simmons, and Mark Consuelos. Um, yeah, yeah. So there you go, right there. So these are the movies that came out so far. I'm going to actually save this for another time. Actually, all right, I'm gonna save this for another time. Actually, so let's get into. I want to get into this thing. Actually, I want to get into this thing. Let me see if I can find it though. All right. All right. All right. Um okay. All right. I want to go into this next segment, which has to do with tech. So let's get into hold on. Let's get into this thing called Crunch Tech Mentions. All right. TikTok. Let's let's talk about this though, man. This happened most recently, according to Yahoo Finance. Um, TikTok announced Thursday it has established a majority American owned joint venture to operate its US business, allowing the company to avoid a ban over its Chinese ownership. The video sharing app is a global digital entertainment powerhouse, but its mass appeal and links to China have raised concerns over privacy and national security. The TikTok USD's joint venture LLC will serve more than 200 million users and 7.5 million businesses while implementing strict safeguards for data protection and content moderation, the company said. The new structure responds to a law passed under U.S. Cheeseface President 47's um, predecessor, Joe Biden, that forced Chinese-owned ByteDance to sell TikTok's U.S. operations or face a ban in its biggest market. Cheeseface President 47 welcomed and claimed credit for the deal, but also thanked Chinese President Xi Jinping for approving it. He said, "I am so happy to have helped in saving TikTok." Cheeseface President 47 said in a post on True Social late Thursday, "Fucking liar. It will now be owned by a group of great American patriots and investors, the biggest in the world, and will be an important voice. I would also like to thank President Xi of China for working with us and ultimately approving the deal," he added. ByteDance retains a 19.9% stake in the joint venture, keeping its ownership below the 20% threshold stipulated by the law. Three investors, Silver Lake, Oracle, and Abu Dhabi-based AI investment fund MGX, each hold 15% stakes. Oracle's executive chairman, Larry Ellison, is a longtime Cheeseface President 47 ally. Other investors include Dell Family Office affiliates and Susquehanna International Group and General Atlantic. The joint venture will retain decision-making authority over trust and safety policies and content moderation for users, but TikTok's global entities will manage international product integration and commercial activities, including e-commerce and advertising. Under the arrangement, U.S. user data will be stored in Oracle's secure cloud environment with cybersecurity audited by third-party experts and adhering to federal standards, TikTok said. Jasmine Enberg, co-CEO of Scalable, a media company focused on the creative economy, said TikTok users would be relieved by the deal, but that there were still big questions about how this will all play out. Behind the scenes, TikTok is likely working hard to assure advertisers it will remain business as usual, she told AFP, excuse me. While the need for users to download a new app seems likely, brand partners will want to know what their TikTok strategies won't be disrupted. The joint venture will be governed by a 7-member majority American board, including TikTok CEO Shu Chu and executives from investment firms. TikTok executive Adam Presser was appointed CEO of the new entity, with Will Farrell serving as chief security officer. The 2024 law came as U.S. policymakers, including Cheeseface President 47 in his latest first presidency, warned that China could use TikTok to mine Americans' data or exert influence through its algorithm. And you know who I'm talking about, though, man. The fat bastard that's in the fucking White House. I don't need to say his name. You know who I'm talking about here. But Cheeseface President 47 crediting the app for his appeal with young voters, delayed enforcement through successive executive orders, most recently extending the deadline to January 22nd. The deal largely confirms an outline announced to staff by Chu last month. In September, one-time venture capitalist and Vice President J.D. Vance said the U.S. entity would be valued at about $14 billion, but it would ultimately be up to investors to determine pricing. That month, Cheeseface President 47 said a new venture had been agreed with China and would meet the law's requirements. Cheeseface President 47 specifically named Ellison, one of the world's richest men, as a major player in the arrangement. Ellison has returned to the spotlight through his dealings with Cheeseface President 47, who has brought his old friend into major AI partnerships with OpenAI. Oh, gosh. I hate this AI shit, man. I hate this AI shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, oh boy. Come on. All right. So we have in other tech news, we have we have some touchscreen MacBooks that we gotta talk about here. All right. So rumors have long been swirling that Apple is going to give its MacBook Pro lineup of laptops an OLED display upgrade in the not too distant future. And now it seems that the upgraded model could be appearing sooner than we thought. According to well known tipster Yeux 1122 via 92 Mac via 925 Mac, Samsung has now started mass production of its latest 8.6 dash TH generation all LED panels, and Apple's all LED MacBook Pros are being tipped to be the first beneficiaries. These panels weren't expected to hit the mass production stage until the second quarter of 2026, whether it's April, May, or June. And so it follows that the laptops themselves might make an earlier than expected appearance sometime later this year. Um, Previous predictions pointed to a launch window around the end of 2026, but if the timetable can be shifted forward, perhaps there's scope for an unveiling sometime around September or October. However, this is all pretty speculative for now. Touchscreen capable too, as well as carrying all LED technology, which in theory offers a superior viewing experience to the LCD displays currently used in MacBooks with deeper blacks and excellent contrast. These panels are also touchscreen capable. Your mileage may vary on whether or not a touchscreen MacBook is something that you are interested in. What we can certainly say is that it'll blur the lines between MacBooks and iPads even further if both are able to use touch input and perhaps the Apple Pencil. If previous rumors are correct, however, only the top tier MacBook Pros will get the OLED upgrade. Those running the as yet unannounced M6 Pro and M6 Max chipsets. The less expensive options are apparently going to stick with the current display tech. Before the M6 revolution starts, we think there still will be room for M5 Pro and M5 Max MacBook Pros to be unveiled, perhaps even this month or next month, following on from the refreshed M5 Apple laptops launched last year. So there you go, right there. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to talk about. All right, there's two gaming news that we got to talk about here. There's two gaming news involving Wolverine and some other gaming news that we got to talk about here. I want to get to two of them real quick before I wrap up the show. All right. Um okay, time for the video game entertainment newsroom. Let's go. All right, Wolverine is the topic to talk about today. All right, so according to the folks from Video Games Chronicle, Marvel's Wolverine is PlayStation's biggest first-party game, currently planned for 2026. While Sony had previously announced that the game would launch this year, no specific date was given. When it was announced earlier this week that Sony would hold a state of play presentation on Thursday, which already happened, many assumed that the news on Wolverine and a potential release date would be included in the show. However, now appears that Insomniac's next game could skip this week's showcase. Replying to a user on X who asked when more information about the game would be revealed, the Insomniac Games account responded, "Spring 2026." Okay. Of course, if Marvel's Wolverine is included in this week's show, it's unlikely that an official account would confirm it ahead of what would likely be a surprise. However, it's also that Insomnia is attempting to get out in front of Thursday's show to avoid potential fan disappointment. Sony's State of Play showcase returns that took place on Thursday of last week. The State of Play um already happened on last Thursday of next week, which was February 12th. Of course, if you missed it, you can watch it on the PlayStation YouTube channel page. Sony says the presentation will last more than 60 minutes and will feature news, gameplay updates, and announcements from game studios across the globe. PlayStation's Wolverine game was announced back in September 2021 alongside Spider-Man 2, with Insomniac stating at the time that Wolverine was in very early development. All right, and of course, last but not least, let's get to let's get to this. No, this is not it. Let's get to this actually. Let's get to yes, here we go. Xbox's new CEO has moved to reassure players over the gaming division's future use of AI, claiming that Microsoft won't flood its games with soulless AI slop. Asha Sharma, who was previously head of core AI at Microsoft, was named as the company's new head of gaming in a shock announcement on Friday, replacing 35-year company veteran Phil Spencer. In addition, Xbox president and COO Sarah Bond is leaving Microsoft, while game studio boss Matt Booty oh shit. Matt Booty has been promoted to the new role of Chief Content Officer. Sharma's most recent role was leading AI at Microsoft, and before that, she held top positions at Meta and Instacart. Her background has naturally raised questions from some about the role generative AI will play in future Xbox games. However, speaking to Variety, the execs claimed has claimed she has no tolerance for bad AI. AI has long been part of gaming and will continue to be, Sharma said, noting that gaming needs new growth engines, but that great stories are created by humans. Yes, very important. In further statement published on Friday, the incoming CEO was even more explicit about her intentions, stating that there would be no soulless AI slop in Xbox games. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop, she said. Games are Games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. She added, I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not. Sharma conceded that she is coming into Microsoft's gaming division with a lot to learn and claimed that she's committed to being grounded in what the community is telling us. I'm coming into gaming as a platform builder, she said, adding that her goal is to earn the right to be trusted by players and developers and show the fan base that consistency over time. In his own statement, Phil Spencer said he had decided to leave Microsoft after thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of my life. Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft Gaming as Asha Sharma steps into the role of CEO, and I want to be the first to welcome her to this incredible team, he said. Working with her over the past several months has given me tremendous confidence. She brings genuine curiosity, clarity, and a deep commitment to understanding players, creators, and the decisions that shape our future. Okay, I'm gonna touch on the AI mess in a following episode, so stay tuned for that. All right. Um. All right. So I'm gonna actually wrap up this show right here. I'm gonna wrap up this show right here. Actually. All right. So let's get this out the way. Actually. So all right. So we're gonna wrap up right here with this stream choices on the go. Let's go. All right, folks, you know what to do. Make sure you follow Off the Meat Rat Chainz New York Avenue podcast on Facebook alongside with Blue Sky Social and, of course, Threads and Instagram. The same goes for my other podcast shows that I do, which is my Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Make sure you follow that sports page as well. And, of course, follow the entertainment review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, which is also on the same social media platforms that I just mentioned. And you can also follow your host with the most, G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. All right. So when you go to the link in bio, you're going to see a whole list of audio streaming platform podcast feeds. So we're gonna get into some of the audio streaming platforms by pressing the link tree link / G Money Stacks 555. Um, we are on the show is on Odyssey, Audible, Audioburst, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts with a positive review. Um, it it really helps me out as a host of multiple podcasts with more content and more topics. We are on Castbox FM. These are Listen Notes, Moon FM podcast, Overall FM podcast, Pandora, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podcatcher, Podcast Republic, Snipped. We are also on Spotify. Make sure you add this podcast to your Spotify playlist and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified on when each episode will be dropping. You can also listen on Spotify for creators, TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to your favorite rappers, R&B singers, pop stars, rock and roll artists, hip hop artists included. You can also listen to your favorite AM and FM radio stations. And as a bonus, you can listen to the podcast episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is grab your phones, download iHeartRadio onto your iPhones, Android phones, alongside with iPads, Android tablets, laptops include Apple, Mac laptops, and alongside with Dell laptop models, whether you have a Windows 10 or Windows 11. All right. And yes, make sure you click on the subscribe button on this YouTube channel page, G Money Stacks 555. Share the video with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with from work. And also do the same by sharing the link tree link / G Money Stacks 555 as well. Leave a like and a comment. Tell me how you feel about the topics in today's episode, including the hair conversation about my mother and everything else in between and stuff like that. And of course the movies, the tech topics, the trending topics in hip hop, along with the movies, along with the recaps and everything else in between, as far as the gaming topics. All right. Also do me a favor. Click on the notification bell to get notified on the alerts, the alert notifications, so you'll be able to know when the videos will be uploaded onto the channel page, and of course when I'll be on the air via live stream with more podcast recordings. And of course more video podcast episode live stream recordings. There's going to be more new episodes that's going to be coming out on every streaming platform, which is going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All right. So there you go. This episode will be dropped on Monday. All right. And if you missed out on any episodes, please feel free to actually check out those episodes, man. All right. And of course, that's going to do it for me. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, rhymes with now or later. And I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you for taking the time to hear me out and letting me get things off of my chest in regards to my hateful mother who is toxic, full of jealousy, full of insecurities, writing people off based on men's hairstyles and stuff. But at the same time, I wanted to actually dedicate this episode and to the guys out there that's rocking different types of hairstyles that I discussed in today's episode, to tell you folks out there, you know, that you are unique in your own way as far as the hairstyles, to make sure that you are handsome. You're handsome. Of course, your hairstyles is off the meat rack, meaning fresh and butters. And of course, fresh to death. So keep doing you. Be your authentic self. And don't worry about the fucking haters, man. They can go, they could go down stuck in their faces like a fucking pieces of pancakes on a frying pan for all I care. So there you go. You know what I'm saying? Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not gonna be given to you on a fucking silver platter. And of course, make sure you follow your goals and dreams. And if you plan on starting a podcast, don't let anybody discourage you or tell you not to call it a podcast whatsoever. Um, and 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 of course, if you plan to start the podcast for yourself, it's never too late. Don't worry about whether it's the perfect time to do it, right or wrong times. There is no wrong time or perfect time to actually do this. There is no right or wrong way in doing a podcast. Okay, some people can improv, some people can memorize some notes, whatsoever. Not everybody can do that. All right. So I just want to get that out the way. And also remember to be on your P's and Q's. Be on your P's and Q's and be yourself behind the microphone while recording your podcast topics and everything else in between, creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. All right. And look, man. I wanted to actually basically say, no matter what hairstyle you're rocking, whether it's plaits, whether it's cornrows, whether it's square braids, whether it's box braids, plaits, dreadlocks, whatever it may be, man, there's a history behind those hairstyles, man, as I talked about in this episode, man. If you're interested in listening to those topics again, you can listen to this episode as it drops on the YouTube channel page and all that great stuff. And and I wanted to provide more support into defending you based on the hairstyles you have and the rational judgments that you received based on that, though, man. Don't let anybody judge you based on your hairstyles, the clothes that you wear, whatsoever. And if your parents or anyone else out there can't accept you for who you are as an individual, don't bother talking to them. Instead of talking about it, be about it for your individual selves. Continue to be your authentic self. All right. I'm about to be up out of here. Stay tuned for more new topics in the next episode. And I will try to cover the update on the Gateway Tunnel funding. All right. So I'll see y'all next time on the flip side. Peace and one love. And I hope y'all are prepared for another snowstorm that's happening tomorrow night through Monday. We might be getting 13 inches of snow. So be prepared. If you have to go outside to work and everything else, please sure you layer up with some clothes. Make sure you have your scarves, your hats, your mittens, your ski mask, your hoodies, your bubble jackets, whatever you have as a installation of inspiration to keep yourselves warm. And of course, make sure you treat yourself to some hot coffee, chocolate milk with marshmallows, some tea, all that great stuff to keep your body warm so you don't end up freezing up whatsoever. All right, so there you go, man. These are some tips that I have right here, and yeah, there you go. There you go, right there. And if there's any other topics that I missed, I will cover it next time. All right, folks. Peace and one love. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see y'all next time on the flip side. And stay safe out there. And of course, continue to be your authentic self and keep rocking those hairstyles. I like them. And I think they look unique on you. It works for everybody. All right. It doesn't matter what the haters say. Just keep being your authentic self. You are unique in your own way. And if it represents who you are as an individual, then go for it. All right, man. Peace. Take care of yourselves. Stay warm. I hope you have enough salt to shovel the driveways and the sidewalks and stuff. And the pathway to your front doors and the back doors. All right. I'm out of here. As Ken Stars always usually says, have a good night, everybody.